How do you feel when you hear such delightful compliments?
See, I have been surrounded by the most genuine people in my life, and they've always been very honest to me. So nothing what I have heard today is new. I'm definitely
Oh,
elated.
thanks a
I'm
lot.
thankful
Everybody
to
has
everyone.
thought of being.
I'm really thankful to everyone.
Uh,
But I know from the very deep of my heart, I'm a very soulful person, and that's how I connect to most of my friends. So out here, everyone is a close friend, and I know whatever everybody has said. I'm definitely elated, but I'm sure I'll continue to earn this because I have got a bad problem in my life. I'm a person who likes to earn everything. I never demand it. And this was something which I, for example, my relationship with people, I don't put accountability, I put ownership. And when it comes to my relationship with people, the only thing I want back is the goodwill. So last night was I was leaving the aircraft at 12:30 from the on my way from Saudi Arabia to, so the girls out there saying that great, you had a great time. Hope thanking you. I hope you haven't left anything behind. I said I have only left a goodwill. And that's exactly what I do in my relationship with people.
tell
And
me,
when you talk about relationships, then you talk about value embodiment. If you the values are close to your heart, to your it's embedded in you, then automatically relationships will prosper because you are honest, you are candid, you're frank, and that's exactly I've built relationship with everyone out here in this room.
like, yeah, we feel equally privileged to know you. But tell me, the generosity of spirit, was that when you were young, or did you grow into it? What was your first act of kindness that you can remember?
I think it came by, you evolve in life. So I had three stages of life. There was one flamboyant part of my life where I was told I'm flamboyant. So I remember one of my senior managers in Bank of Oman, Bombay, he was visiting from Dubai, and then he says that it was Mr. Abdul Aziz Al Ghurair. He said, we feel that you are very flamboyant. I said, I'm just 24. I want to accomplish things in life. I have ideas, I have thoughts. If you call it flamboyance, I don't know what the flamboyance means. If you're ambitious and you want to accomplish things, you got to be a go-getter. And I remember that word. It always resonates well in my mind all throughout. Am I flamboyant? But I was told that I'm flamboyant. But over the years, yes, there are so many mistakes I did in my life. But one thing I never was self-reflection. That was close to my heart. And when I talk about words like khudagahi, we talk about self-reflection, we talk about relentless action. This has been my character, and I found in myself. If this is there in me. So even when I was taking decisions, being ambitious, I realized that I'm going through some there is a period of trial. There is somewhere where I realized that these things might put me in a difficult position. But somehow, being surrounded by good people, my
Come out
wife on
strong.
my side, she was always there to support me and help me to make those decisions, which were definitely very, very tough. But somehow, the idea of I realized the word resilience only after 20 years. I didn't know I'm resilient. I was going through multiple crises. So when in 2013 I was diagnosed with cancer, you know how it is when you get to know that you're diagnosed with a malignant cancer. It was quite a difficult, decision to absorb. But somehow, initially it came as a shock. And whilst in that process of recovery, I realized this is just another challenge of life. You could live with it, and that's how I build my restitution. This is a word called restitution. And this is where I built that restitution in me with through those recoveries, be it those bankruptcies of 1999, then 2008. I had two bankruptcies. I had nothing. I had 24 million in debt, and I had to start from scratch. But where did it come from? I believe that I have that strength. I always tell that insecurity is something which is state of mind. If you have your ability to believe in yourself, and if you can leverage your inner strengths, think somehow you can do that. And this is what I was doing it all throughout those crises of my life. Sometimes the crises are not of your own making. 2008 was a crisis that everybody was, two-thirds of the world was impacted by that. I couldn't do much about it, but I didn't rule in it. I always rise above. I could have gone into defensive posture. No, I innovated myself. I am very agile. And that's where my lean mindset came in picture. If you, today, because we are having a problem with the mics, because it's my own mics. It's my own phone.
I'm glad you didn't go into the mic business.
This book is written by me. There is no ghostwriter. There is no editor. So I haven't spent much of money on the book. Everything is organic. And realizing about these mics, then I said, fine, at least I take great pride. It is my own organic organization. So this is why it is.
It's all right.
So I think so long we can communicate with each other, and
the
that
message is honest.
Correct. So, somehow we have learned the art of being lean and agile. And that has helped me to find my way from 20 million to 2 billion. This is the journey which is primarily came through that agile thing.
Yeah. Now back to the book for a moment. Tell us, at what moment did you decide to write this book? What event occurred that sparked that interest in you?
So the man on my left, he should be on my right, is Bikram Vohra. He's been definitely a man who motivated me back in 1998, 99. Tariq, you're a good storyteller. Why don't you write? And I said, my challenge was I went to a vernacular school. Till I was in 11th standard, I didn't know how to. I always tried speaking English and people would shut me down. I was, but seriously, if anyone has gone through the, what you call a significant amount of what you call triumphs and trial in context to my English speaking. So I always had that, where can I write in English something, a language which is not my first language. My first language is Urdu, and I didn't know much of an Urdu. So I remember when I was in my graduation, so I did my graduation, and then my father pushed me to do engineering, and then I realized after reaching a third year that this is not where I belong to. So I decided to go to do English literature, history, and economics. So somehow I found love in that subject, and I'll tell you why. It's a context to the book, and then I realized that I think I have got an urge to express myself, and I was very bad with girls. I had so many, what you call. No, I meant I was not very successful, so I would always. So I always wanted to express myself. So I thought I should become a poet. So with all my heartbreaks, hundreds of them were there. And I wrote a poem. And then I went to my professor. And he told me, see, English is not your first language. Don't write it.
So maybe that's where you were losing out.
And then anyway, I lived with that. And then Mr. Bikram Vohra, imagine the most celebrated author of India. He's a man you should know, but he's sitting here He's one of the finest writer, a journalist, a man with extraordinarily. And if he tells me, please write something, then I was definitely encouraged. And then Mr. Ram Baksani one day told me after I started writing, yeah, I liked your article, which is the bottom line. And then I was, so from there, I had always an urge to share my thoughts. And I had some deep thoughts. I'm a student of common sense and logic. I have worked in 6 industries: technology, banking, transaction services, uh, facility management, and then I have also worked in the marketing, basically. I
Also,
work for one of the largest organizations
Tariq,
in the world.
also in humanity. You've done so many good things and touched so many lives.
But that's the part of my, over the years, I realized, that it is important for me to share. And the word altruism, which uh, Navdeep talked about it. Let me explain to you. Today, every single good action can turn to impact your bottom line. But if you present it from a bottom line perspective, employee engagement, employee welfare, employee well-being, this has done extraordinary wonders in EFS bottom line, uh, in the implosion of EFS bottom line. Altruism in terms of compassion and helping people have helped me to build a brand that people could resonate with. Very recently, a large organization approached me that were looking for an organization that believes in ethical hiring, and we would want to employ your services for hiring close to about 15,000 people in Europe. So can you imagine what opportunities that exist around? But it's all depends on how do you translate those actions into a measured. I always believe that whatever actions you do, there should be a measured outcome. And there should be an impact to every stakeholder. So the way this book is written about, it's got 6 sections in it. The first one talks about people. Because I was always very impressed when we were first awarded the Sheikh Khalifa Excellence Award, which is an EQM concept. So based on EQM concept, I felt that this is something I should build my organization. And back in 2014-15, we started building the entire principles of EQM. And within EQM, you talk about people, you talk about leadership, you talk about customer results, you talk about society results, and you talk about business results. And that's exactly then I separated into about 18 sections. I've talked about cash flows. And who I have written this book to? See, most of my friends are the most intelligent people, and I have learned through them so much. They have read one of the finest books. In fact, I had a tough challenge to share the excerpts of my book with my intelligent friends because I was worried about, I was scared, I said, one of the finest books, they write reviews, they review them. And what I'm writing is about something for common sense and logic. It is common sense and logic, but it's meant for very common people. It's an ordinary businessman who's written reference to context into every chapter. And I can assure you, all of you may not be in the 100% pages, but in one chapter, you will find yourself in that chapter. So it's not meant, the whole book is not for everyone to grasp it and take it as a gospel. I'm not a guru and I'm not professing anything. I still believe I have a very ordinary journey. And I know my friends are great, they talk about it. And I think what I wanted to accomplish is an impact where I could create an ecosystem for everyone. And the book very clearly reflects on each of that element. For example, when I talk about millennials, I saw my own kids, initially struggling to find and worried about jobs. What I see the last 3 months of their, or 6 months, what pain they go through before finishing colleges. Will we get a job? Who's going to give us a job? This insecurities were, were a matter of big concern to me. And I thought I must create a system in my own organization and I must talk about it and how we can expand on it. Today, I work on 3 global initiatives on creating incubations in universities, colleges, and large corporates. We are working on reworking back on that. Today, I have got 6 skill centers in India I have established because I believe there is an opportunity. We need to do something before we complete because today the curriculums are not necessarily good enough to make people work ready. But organizations like us, we have made it possible. One of the finest and the man who runs my organization, he's a millennial. He started with me as an accountant, and today the group CFO. In 12 years, I've created one of the finest. Like him, I have 500 in the making. And I think that's the kind of ecosystem you create. And my book clearly reflects on, I've talked about prudent cash flows. I've talked about customer results. I've talked about how do you see business? There are 4 stakeholders in the business: employees, shareholders, suppliers, and clients. Everyone, you have to have a defined value. Performance management, progression and development. So most of those who are entrepreneurs, you could see some of those chapters where you will very easily be able to resonate with that.
By listening to you, so we're a bit spellbound by listening to you. I mean, whoever told you you're not eloquent in English was talking complete nonsense. You're enormously eloquent.
No, I think I've learned from my daughters because they speak a very good English, and somehow my always challenge is that how do you rise upon to be seen as a dad to look upon? So I have always been earning their attention, their respect. I know I have it, but I have an amazing family, and I have amazing friends. Let me tell you, a friend in need is a friend indeed. That's the way I see friends. And when it comes to family, Lavita doesn't talk much. I asked her to be a part of this. She said no. And
we'll get her up here just now.
So when I received my bestseller yesterday, when I was notified by Amazon that this is a bestseller, I said, this credit, all those credits, I tried putting it together in one word to called up Lavita. It's difficult to get her through the phone. Then I had to call up a couple of phone calls till I get it to her. I said, I've sent you something and this is what I'm dedicating to you.
What did you send?
Then I received the Amazon bestseller. And I thought, who do I, how do I communicate to and who I should communicate to? So I thought a woman of substance and a woman who's been helped me to get my independence. And that is what it is. Mr. Tosif, a friend of mine, is looking at me.
Did you buy her a tangible gift?
I think, one thing about Lavita, this first time for the Valentine, I went and I thought, let's buy some diamonds. Everybody says diamonds, women don't. I went and I bought some diamonds for her and I gifted her
some diamonds.
You know what she did?
Is ruining everyone's
life. In 3 days' time, she goes back and she converts it into 5 boxes. One she gave it to the daughter, one she gave it to the brother, to the other daughter. And that's how she does it, So, but that's how Lavita is, and that's what I respect her, and this is what we really. So, you should be what you are, and this is what she has taught me. If there is something called humility, something called simplicity, this is what I've learned from my wife, and I'm not. Let me tell you, every friend of mine will endorse it. That how down to earth and simple she is.
While you're check, when you're talking about giving, right? You're going to give the proceeds from the sales of this book, right? You were telling me on the phone to people who need the money, and
Yeah, I think I have never earned a penny from my whatever work I do, uh, whether it is my articles or columns that I do for newspaper. The first one, when I started writing with him,
we
I
paid you.
started,
Uh,
they would pay, and I would send that money for a good cause. So the proceeds of this particular book is going for the worker welfare. I've got a NGO in India called Abhar Foundation, and Abhar is primarily dedicated to the cause, to the upliftment of the issues the migrant contract workers faces, those who come here, either the ethical hiring process or the multiple things. And exactly that's what I'm going to do with this book. And not only this, there's so much. My organization spends 8% on learning and development. The employee cost 8% goes into learning and development. My 2.5% of my bottom line of my organization goes into direct compassion, and 8% goes into worker well-being. This is the kind of organization. In a small way, I tried creating it. My idea of creating a people-first organization, and this is what exactly you will see. Reference to context of this is there in my book in every context. So it's about how do you build a people-first organization? What is a people-first organization? This is where I have ensured that my every employee in their benefit is my company benefit. Not in my company benefit is their benefit. That's the way I present to my. And that's for me the people first.
well, good for you, definitely. Yeah, I think all of us over here are also part of that
What's the
family.
time now?
You got the watch.
My watch doesn't work.
What's the time?
I always wear watches because but I never
What's the
look at
time?
them. I wear them because I love them.
8. So we just get Lavita up on
8,
the stage.
10. Okay, fine. No, I just want to make sure that we close in time because
Yeah,
the most important part is my food.
the dinner he's
And I
cooked.
never compromise when it comes to time of the food
Yeah.
and when it comes to the quality of the food and the company.
So let's have Lavita up there then.